Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. Um, Player rating season review from myself tonight. I can't sleep, so I've decided to do this player ratings late this evening. And it's been an amazing season. Before I get started, it has been an amazing season. We've had some weird results though, like games where we should have nicked the results, etc. And we've just let certain games go. And fair enough, we've got seventh, which is an amazing achievement. Don't get me wrong. But with a little bit of investment and maybe a few games going our way, we might have nicked sixth or even higher than that. Um, but I will get into it. But let's start off at the beginning, as I always do. Season player ratings starts now. And it's this man, Lucas Fabianski. I don't know where to start with him for the season. I really don't. Um, I feel he's been good at the start of the season. Then, as the season's gone on, he's just slowly declined. And over the last, say, 3 months, he's been not as good as he once was. Do I want him as first choice goalkeeper next season? No, no. I think there's another man in our team who definitely deserves to be starting if he is signed at his club. I think he will sign at this club, but for Lucas, I'm going to give Lucas a 7 for the season. I think he's got us to seventh in the league. He's been the Premier League goalkeeper. So for me, I think he deserves a 7. Seven's about right where I'm at with him. But I've got to admit, there's been certain games this year where he has made some errors, so to speak, recently and all. Arsenal at home, to name one. Remember the Man United game? I think he made a couple of errors there, and also so for me, yeah, 7 is about right for Lucas Fabianski for me this season. Moving on to this man, Alfonso Areola. Now, for me, I feel that he needs to be signed, sealed, and delivered to us next season, 100%. I look at it like this: that he's a player that has improved West Ham. I think even in the Europa League, we looked very, very good, and he was very, very good in the Europa League. Don't get me wrong, but I've got to be honest. I was quite surprised how good he actually is, and for me, Areola needs to be signed up. I think he was absolutely first class. Obviously, he didn't play in the Prem. I think he only played one game in the Premier League. I think, and that was Manchester United away when we lost the game 1-0 in the 90th minute. Other than that, he's played every game in like League Cup games and Europa League games. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to give Alphonse an 8, and a very high 8 at that. I think he deserves an 8, a very high 8. I feel that his save in the Europa League against Seville is one of them saves that was got us to where we got us to the semi-final basically, and it's down to him. He's one of the reasons why we got there. So yeah, for me, Alphonse deserves an 8. Please, West Ham, sign this man up in the summer. Let's go to defenders now. I'm going to start off with this man, Vladimir Kufal. Um, I don't know where to start with him. Yeah, it's been a very mixed bag for Kufal. For me personally, last season he was my player of the year, and he was excellent from start to finish last season. And I was screaming high heaven for him to go player of the year last season, but Suchek got it. This season, he's just not been the same player. He's been done with injuries. He's been out of form. He's had competition. Other players have played better than him, and it's been a very mixed bag for Vladimir Kofel. Uh, he obviously the injury knocked him back. I think he got injured against Manchester United at home, or if I remember rightly, I think it was, and he just knocked him for 6, and he was out for a few months with a groin problem. But recently, including yesterday, he was absolutely first class. Now, the problem is with Cafal, you just don't know what you're going to get. One day he could be good, one day he could be bad, one day he could be bang average. I'm going to give Cafal for this season. I'm going to give him a 5, a standard 5 for me. I don't think it's been a vintage season for him. I think other players have come in and done jobs. I think Frederick's come in and took and was overlooked by him. He got sent off against Arsenal away in December. So yeah, I'm going to give Cafal 5. It's a shame, really. It really is, because I like Cafal and I think Cafal's a decent player. I just feel personally, I just hope he's not a one season wonder. That's the only thing I do fear. So for me, Cafal gets a 5. Moving to the left side, which is this man, Aaron Cresswell. I don't know. I don't know what to say here. Start of the season was very good. Yeah, he was good. As the season's gone on, he got injured at Man City away, fractured back, and he was out for 8 weeks. Now, we need the left back at the club, which is not his problem. He's the left back who's there. He comes back, we look a completely different team. Then he has the shocker, Leon at home, where he gets sent off, but we managed to recover the situation. And then he has the ultimate shocker in Frankfurt, where we couldn't turn it around. I think Cresswell's been good this season. Not great, but good. Right. But I do feel the Frankfurt game was a major mistake for him. 100%. I look at him and I think he just got no pace, kid. That's all it is. And he lacks pace, and people are targeting him on his side because they know he can be roasted for pace. Obviously, he scored the goal against Everton, the free kick, which was absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, and he won us the game. But he's been good this year. Do you know what I mean? As a back four, they've all had their ups and downs, but you know what? Yeah, Cresswell's been good. What am I going to give him? I'm going to give him a 7. It's just a 7 for me, because I feel that the Frankfurt game was a missed opportunity. I think he's done the same crime twice, and for me, it just wasn't good enough, in my opinion. But this is a season review. For me, he's been pretty good. Do you know what I'm saying? So a 7 for me. Moving on to this man, Kirk Zuma. Mad year for this man. Signed him from Chelsea last year. Comes to the club, and I think he's an immense signing. He straightens up our defence. We look rock solid. Everything's going good. Play some games. He gets injured. Chelsea at home. Pulls I think it was a hamstring injury, I think it was. And then he's out for a good few months. Then we managed to pull him back. And then he had his off-field problems, where basically he decided to go around kicking cats. Now, ever since that's happened, his performance hasn't changed. He hasn't got worse. He's had the odd mistake from time to time, but he's only human. Do you know what I'm saying? But in the grand scheme of things, he's one of the best centre-half signings I've seen West Ham do for a long time. For a long, long time. And for me, he's going to get an 8 for me for what he brings. He's been absolutely first class in a West Ham shirt. Can't fault him. He's made odd mistakes, but even having the whole world hate him, he was still putting in excellent first-class performances. So for me, he gets an 8 for me, 100%. I think we need a partner for him next year, and if we can get someone solid alongside him, we've got a solid unit of a defence. Do you know what I'm saying? Moving on to this man, Angelo Ogbonna. Oggy, he's been away for a long time, hasn't he? And for me, he's getting another year older. It's going to be sad when he decides to leave West Ham. Obviously, the injury he picked up was a killer. It knocked us for 6, and I can't remember who he got injured against, but I think it was Liverpool. I think it was. And yeah, other players have stepped in and done an amazing job. Listen, Ogbonna's been absolutely first class. He needs to be replaced, though. There's no two ways about it. He's 35, I think he is. And I want him around the team, but I don't want him in the starting lineup next season. What can I really give Angelo Ogbonna this year? I think at the start of the season, when him and Zuma were together, they was rock solid, absolute rock solid. Everton away, Spurs at home. I remember a few, and yeah, he's absolutely first class. But I do think we need to replace him in the summer. I'm going to give Andrew 5. All right, I think he deserves a 5. He's been absolutely first class for us. Totally deserves it, in my opinion. Let's go to this man, Mr. Craig Dawson. Um, Never fails to impress me. This man. Does he want to leave and go back up north? I think he does. I think maybe he's looking at to like end his career locally to home. Don't blame him. If he loves his family and his family up there, then he's going to want to do that. But he's been absolutely first class for West Ham. Some of the goals he scored this season have been absolutely mint. Do you know what I mean? And he's saved us in a lot of games. Do you know what I mean? I remember a game where we drew 1-0. I think it's Newcastle at home. He scored. Leon got us on our way. The game is absolutely first class, and what he does in both boxes is decent. Is he the future? He's a no from me. I think he's done. He's a backup player at best. But I've got to say this: what he has done, he's done absolutely immense, and he deserves all the plaudits that he gets. So that is my thoughts on Mr. Craig Dawson. What am I going to give him? I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him an 8. I am. I'm going to give him an 8. I think he deserves an 8. I think he's been absolutely first class for us, if I'm being honest, and totally deserves the applause that he gets. Do you know what I mean? Well done, Craig. Moving on to this man. He said God, this is hard, this one. This is where it starts getting difficult for me. He's just had good games, bad games, and absolute awful games. Like, some of the games, I remember the game in Genk where he made the mistake and it nearly cost us the game. Other games, and I know Mitchell goes in on him quite a lot, and rightfully so in certain things, but Issa just doesn't learn. He's just not aggressive enough, in my opinion. Right? I remember him coming in this season and he played a masterclass game when Angelo was in it, and he looked the part. And then the following week, you go and do something completely stupid and give it away. The problem is with Issa Diop is he's very, very inconsistent. Now, he's not. I thought him and Zuma together would have worked. I think both being French might have like the French connection type of thing. But I just feel that Issa he's on the road to nothing, in my opinion. And I look at him and I feel, right, he's been here a long time. Has he improved? No. Is he going to get better? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? How much time do we persist with this man before we think it's time to get rid? Do I think he'll be in next season? I don't think he will be. I think he'll be sold in the summer. And West Ham will bring in a replacement, get rid of him, and probably try and keep Dawson and O'Connor, and ever their first choice will be Issa's replacement. So for me, when I look at Issa Diop, he scored some key goals this season. He really has. And I remember in the Europa League, he scored the goal, got us on our way against Genk. I think it was at home. So it's an hard one with me. I don't want to go in on Issa because some games he's been decent, and other games he has been absolutely shocking, defensively shocking, out of position, all over the place. So I'm going to give Issa a 4. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. I'm gutted, really, because I have backed him up. And I've always said to people on this channel, I will back Issa up to a point and then will stop backing him up. And I have stopped backing him up to a point. Now, I think it's just, you look at him and you just think, what's he doing? Like, he's clumsy and he ball watches a lot. He's just not a very good defender in the Prem. Now, I think in Italy or somewhere, he looked like Desai, but over here, he just doesn't. So for me, 4 out of 10 for Issa Diop. Moving on, let's have a look. Who else we got here, defenders wise? Let's go to this man, Mr. Ben Johnson. I don't know what to say about Ben, really. A mixed bag season for me. It really has. He obviously come in for Kufal. In that sort of September, October, November period, he was very good. Every game Ben was playing, we was winning, and he was very good. After Christmas and beginning of the New Year, he was okay, and then he's just sort of. I remember the game against, I think it was Seville away. He was excellent. Then at Seville at home, he was terrible. I remember one of them games, or was it Leon? I think it was Leon at home. He was terrible, and he's another one who he's just very inconsistent at what he does, like 100%. But I do like Ben. People have not got a lot of time for Ben. People say, "Oh, he's overrated. He's this." I think Ben's a talented footballer. I just feel sometimes he's just inconsistent. He's a bit like Issa Diop in a way, not as bad, but same sort of trait. Do you know what I'm saying? But he's been when he has come in, and that sort of beginning part of the season, Premier League season, right? He was good. He was good. I remember Villa away. I remember Everton away, Spurs at home. All around that period, he was decent. He was very, very good. And I thought he's owning that right back position. And that right back position's had four players playing it this season, which is unbelievable, really. And we don't know which one really is the best one. So I'm going to give Ben for this season a 6. It's a 6 out of 10 for me. I think it's about right where I'm at with him. I do like Ben Johnson though. I must admit, I think Ben's a good player. I think Ben is a sort of player that will get better, and hopefully he's here for a long time. But we don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Moving on to this man, Mr. Ryan Fredericks, another right back in that position. It's time for him to go, in my opinion. Fredericks is all pace but no defence, and we need more than that. One thing I will give him credit for is the recent performances that he has played. He's played very, very well in. I remember the Everton game; he was decent in that, and there was another game. I can't remember what game it was, but he was very, very good in it. And people were calling for him to be first choice right back. Now, for me, that is quite unbelievable considering. Like, this is a man who really gets a lot of stick, and I will openly say it that I've gave him stick before. But I just think it's time for a change. He's been here a long time. Will he be here next season? He's leaving on a free. I've got a feeling West Ham are going to try and sign him on for another couple of years. So don't think this man's going anywhere. I think he'll be here. I'll be quite shocked if West Ham don't try and keep him at the club. So, what can I give Fredericks this year? He's played well in the games he's played in the Prem. I remember a few games he's come in. He's played left back. He's played right back. Recent game against, I think it was Everton. I think he played and he was good in it. I'm gonna give him. I'll give him a 5. I think he's been good in certain games, but defensively he's just poor. He's just poor for me, and he's just not for me at all. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'll give him a 5. Where are we? Let's have a look. See what else we got here. I'm gonna go to this man, Harrison Ashby. Now you're gonna go, well, what games did he play? He played in the League Cup game against Tottenham. He come on as a sub for Kafal when Kafal got sent off. I'm not going to rate this kid, but I'm just going to say that I think this kid should be in there, like in the right back position next season. I like this kid a lot. I think this kid's a talented footballer. I think he's an immense talent that we need to be playing next season regularly. I like him. He gets up and down the pitch, and I think he could do a better job than Fredericks. So for the games he played this season, he done pretty well in. Even Zagreb, he was amazing. So that's my quick thoughts on him. I'll go to this man over to the left-hand side, and it's Arthur Mazawaku. Scored the goal against Chelsea that got us on our way to a 3-2 win in December. And Arthur's he's a polarising lad. Yeah, we love him for his trickery, but this geezer cannot defend for love of money. He's a left winger, really, instead of a left back. But I've got to be honest, in certain games this year, he, he just don't know what he's going to do. You just haven't got a clue what this man will do. I think it's time for him to say goodbye, in my opinion. I look at him, I think he's been here since 2015, summer 2015, I remember. Signed from Olympiacos. And I look at him and I think we need a better covering left back for Cresswell, or even Cresswell to be the covering left back and have a better left back at the club. Maz is a mixed bag. I think he's been here way too long, and I think West Ham need to try and find a buyer for him. Listen, as a left back, he's just not very good. As a left wing back, he can do a job for you. As a left winger, which he has played before, yeah, he's not bad. You know what I mean? I just think he's been here way too long, in my opinion. What am I going to give Maz for this season? I think the goal against Chelsea gets a point extra for me. It's a big goal. I think last season when Lingard was in the team, I think he worked better in that sort of like system. This season, I just don't think he's been all that, if I'm being honest. I don't want to be rude to him, so I'm going to give him a 5. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. The games he's come in, he's been okay, but certain games defensively he's just poor, in my opinion, and we all know it. So I'll give him a 5 out of 10. And that is the defence, I feel. Now, let's go to the midfield. And let's start off with this man. Thomas Souček, Mitchell's favourite player. I don't know where to start with him. I really don't. The Thomas Souček from last year to the Thomas Souček now is night and day. It's absolute night and day. Last season, we had a player who was scoring goals, breaking from deep. He looked like a 50, 60, 70 million pound player. This season, he looks a shadow of himself. Moyes has picked up on it. And Moyes has basically said that he's not happy with the way he's playing. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the future holds for Thomas Souček, if I'm being honest. Can West Ham play a 4-2-3-1 system with him in it? I just don't think we can. I think he gets overrun. And yes, he puts the distance in, he puts the yards in, but someone said it in my chat a long time ago. They turned around and said, he runs the distance, but Declan Rice runs harder. And I'll never forget that comment. I will never forget that comment. And when I look at Souček, he's very static and robotic. Like, do you know what I mean? And I do agree with Mitchell on one thing. If we had a technical player in our team alongside Rice, I think we could progress a bit better. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, he's going to get some bonus points for me though, in regards of Seville. He scored the goal that got us out on our way over against them. He scored some key goals in key games, but his performances have been shocking. Like he's just not the same player. Now, I don't want to go right in on him because he's a West Ham player, and I'm trying this new vibe of not being so negative. But how can I not be negative on a player who's just been? He hasn't been good at all this season. So I'm going to give him. I want to give him a 4 for this season because I think some of the performances this season have been shocking. I think Declan Rice has just covered him quite a lot. But I'm going to give him a 5 because the goal against Seville is a key goal, which got us on our way. Without the goal, we don't go to extra time. So I will give him a 5 out of 10. What do I expect from Souček next year? A massive improvement. I hope that come the summer and start of the season, which is the beginning of August, I want to see Thomas Souček from last season, not this season that we've had. Do you know what I'm saying? And I hope it was because of the Euros as the excuse. So if Souček comes back and he's fresh, firing and ready to go, then I can respect that. If he comes back and he's the player he is now, then it's a definite no from me, 100%. Moving on to this man, Mr. Declan Rice. Um, I'm going to make this pretty short and sweet in regards to the ratings. A 10 out of 10 for me, for him. Absolute 10 out of 10. I think the geezer is absolutely world class. It's not being biased on anything or favouritism on this one. Declan Rice carries West Ham as a player, as a leader, as everything. The fear is when he's not here, because there will be a day when he will not be here, will West Ham go back to being West Ham of old? That is the fear that I do have. We run everything through him. He runs the show. He's excellent in the tackle. Passing's excellent. He's very good awareness. He can play in any number of positions. The geezer's absolutely first class in what he does. He really, really is. And as captain next year, I think it's a massive season for him and for the club. There's no Noble no more, and he's going to have to take the reins. Obviously, we've got to look at what's going to happen in the summer. Will a bid come in from someone? Could Declan even leave in the summer? I don't know. But all I hope is that we can build around this geezer until such a time that he does leave. Do you know what I mean? For me, he's a breath of fresh air, Declan. He really, really is. And he is night and day between Declan Rice and Thomas Souček. Declan Rice makes Thomas Souček look good, in my opinion. He always has. And I feel Declan needs someone next to him who's a bit more of a ball player, who can take the ball under pressure, move it. Do you know what I'm saying? I've seen Declan in games where he's absolutely run the show. And then I've seen him in games where he's sliding about, trying to win trying to get the ball back and get himself booked all over the place because he's out of position. So, yeah, it's an easy 10 out of 10 for me for him. Let's go to this man, Mr. West Ham, Mark Noble. Scored his last European goal against Rapid Vienna. Scored his last Premier League goal. I'm not too sure when, but do you know what? Mark has been absolutely first class for West Ham. He really has. And today, that's it. That's his game. That's him done for forever in the West Ham shirt, which is sad. It really is sad for me. Being the same age as him, growing up, seeing him play, everything. But he leaves behind a legacy, in my opinion, of a player that has got manners, respect, hard work, and he is the role model that every sort of young Cockney lad on the streets of East London, on the estates, aspiring to play for West Ham United. You know what I'm saying? So Mark has been excellent this year when he's come on. I still think Mark could play another year, if I'm being honest. I think Mark has still got the ability. There's been certain games this year where he's come in and done absolutely excellent. I remember a game this year, I think it was Watford, when Deck was out. He come in, that was the last game he scored. I think it was a penalty at Watford away. And he's absolutely first class. Absolutely first class, mate. And I can't praise this man up enough. I really, really can't. What am I going to rate him this year? I'm going to give him, for the time that he's had and the influence he's had and the season that he's had, I'm going to give him a 7. People might think that's being a bit over the top, but I think Mark, he inspires a lot of the players, a lot of the young players, like what he done with the Zagreb game with the youngsters. We need this man around the team as soon as possible. As soon as he decides he's had enough of multiple holidays and he's sitting in his house bored out of his nut, he's got to get him back around the teams in the setup as soon as, in my opinion. So yeah, it's a 7 out of 10 for me for him. Moving on, let's have a look. Where else are we going to go? We've done him. Let me go to this man, Mr. Alex Krell. I don't know what to say about Alex Krell. I really do not have any words to describe what sort of signing this man is. We signed this geezer from, I think it was Spartak Moscow. comes in on loan with a view to a permanent, and with an option to buy, I think it was. And I've seen him about 4 times this year. See him in the League Cup game against Manchester United. I thought he played a good game. We won the game. I see him in the Zagreb game where I thought he was poor. I see him in the Kidderminster game where I thought he was poor. And I see him for about 3 minutes or 4 minutes in the Watford game away from home in December the 29th, I think it was. Yeah. And I just think it's one of the worst signings West Ham's ever made. If I'm being honest. That's no joke. In modern history, I do not understand it. Right? It just seems like it's a cheap, cheerful signing. It just hasn't worked out. The Kidderminster game was shocking. Don't get me wrong, but they was all shocking in that game, not just him. So, what can I rate him? I'm going to rate him a 1. Yeah, a 1 out of 10. And that 1 out of 10 is purely for the Manchester United away game when we won the game. Because I thought he was excellent. I thought he really, really was. I thought he played a very, very good game in that game. And it just seems like from then he just fallen off an edge of a cliff. Don't understand it. And if I'm honest, I don't think none of us will understand it. Do you know what I mean? There is certain games this year he could have played. Don't get me wrong. There was games where we needed another man in midfield and he chose to go with someone else. Do you know what I mean? Or he put Mark on, which is understandable, but Crowell's younger, etc. So I will never understand the Alex Crowell loan deal. 1 out of 10 for me. Let's have a look. Who else we got? Let's try. Right. This is where it's going to get interesting now. Let's go to this man. Nikola Vlasic. I think it's one of the worst signings West Ham's made for a long time, in my opinion. People say that he hasn't had enough game time. I totally disagree on that. I think certain games this year he has played and he just hasn't performed. I can't remember any games where he's got higher than a 7. Like, I really can't. Do you know what I mean? On the player ratings. I remember the Leeds game at home when we played him in the FA Cup. I thought he was excellent. I think Seville, he has a great chance with the header straight at the goalkeeper. I thought he played pretty decent in Seville, if I'm being honest. But I will never understand this signing either. And I think this signing was a panic buy, in my opinion. When I look at him, I think, what's he really done this year? For a £33.5 million signing, which he was when we purchased him with all the add-ons, etc., he hasn't really done anything, in my opinion. And for me, I think it's just been an absolute waste of time. So I'm going to give him. I'm giving him a 4 out of 10. I've not been impressed with this kid at all. I've seen him do a couple of decent things, but nothing to sort of rave about. He did have the whole of January to come in and perform. And I'll never forget it. People were screaming for Ben Rama to get back because West Ham couldn't win a game in January, I think it was. I think we lost against Leeds. We lost against Man United. And we couldn't even... I think we were crying to get him back as soon as possible. So I think it's just been a season to forget for Vlasic. Will he get better next year? Who knows? But all I can say is this: he's got to improve 1,000% from this year, and there's no two ways about it. I really do mean that. 4 out of 10 for me. Let's go to this man, Manuel Lanzini. Scored that amazing goal at Crystal Palace away this season. 1st of January, I think it was. And we won the game 3-2. He was excellent. Great goal. The problem is with Manny is I think they're trying to adapt him into a position that he gets bullied in my opinion. Certain games this season, he's gone in as a midfielder. I don't think it works with him. In certain games, you might be able to get away with it, like your Norwiches, your Watfords, etc. You can't get away with it with the big guns. You really, really can't. In other games, I look at him and I think, yeah, he goes missing. He just goes missing in games. And in some games, he just turns it on. Do I want him to go next season? No. But do I think he should be a squad player? 100% yes. 100%. Manny is a mixed bag with me with him. I like Manny Lanzini. Some of the goals he scores, he's been here a long time. I think he's an absolute gem. Right? He is the jewel. But in certain games over the last, say, 3 months, he's been hit and miss at best. In certain games, he definitely has. So I'm going to give Manny I think for the performance at Palace, I'll give him a 6. I think certain games he just goes a little bit missing in spells. Do you know what I mean? But at, yeah, I think I'm 6 is where I'm at. Certain games he does go missing. I will say that, and I think he gets bullied out of games. 100%. Moving on to this man. Well, this is going to be interesting for me because everyone, as people know on this channel, he's me and Fornells. I don't really see him as the player that everyone else sees him as. I'll start off with the positives. I think at the beginning part of the season he was excellent. I see him against Liverpool at home, and I thought he was man of the match. Yeah, 100%. I thought it was one of the best performances I've ever seen him in a West Ham shirt. I think he ran the show. His passing was good. Then he had a baby, him and his missus, and he started just decline a little bit. Started just to go down. Like, wasn't performing the way he used to. And over the last few months, him and Lanzini together just doesn't work, in my opinion. It really, really don't. I look at Fornells as an industrial midfielder. That's what I see him as. I don't see him as a left-sided winger. I don't see him as a left-sided attacker. I see him as a person who's like a dog with a bone, gets about the pitch, hunts the ball down, gets the ball, passes it on. Good passer, good awareness, good vision, everything like that. I just don't see him as the attacker. I just don't think he scores enough goals. I think in Europa League he was excellent in certain games. I think in the Premier League he's been very hit and miss, very, very hit and miss for me. So what am I going to give him? I'm going to give him a high 7, just not an 8 for me. Right. I'll tell you what. No, I will give him an 8. I will give him an 8 because I think certain games he has played decent in. He's played more decent games than bad games, but it's just an 8 for me. It's just an 8 for Pablo Fornells. It really is. I just don't think like that left side. I think he covers a lot for Cresswell, and for me, he needs to be either in a 3 or basically a number 10. But I will give him an 8 for the season that he's had and the season we've had, and he's played quite a lot of the games with Rice and other people. So yeah, it's an 8 for me for him. Moving on, let's have a look. Who else have we got here? Let's get to where are we? This man, Saeed Ben Rama. As everyone knows, I back this kid up from minute 1, and I do rate this kid. I feel this season's been a mixed bag for Saeed. Really, really has. He scores 8 goals in the Prem. He's got a hell of a lot of assists. He's been most productive player at West Ham, or second most productive player at West Ham, from what I read. And in some games this year, I feel that he's been harshly treated. That's why I back him up. When West Ham lose a game, that have all the fingers pointed at him. And when West Ham win a game, you don't really get a mention. It's other people like saying about certain other players coming in and taking his spot. Has it been a good season for Saeed Benrahma? I believe it has. I believe he's improved to a point. He's scored a lot more goals this season. He's got a lot more assists this season. Um, he's been the most sub player, so he hasn't really played games. And obviously, I don't understand what people want from him in regards of moving forward. Do they want him to score 15 goals and get 15 assists? Because if they're thinking he's doing that, then they're very much mistaken. Because no other player does that. Do you know what I mean? Antonio doesn't do that. I think in a sort of 4-2-3-1 system, I think when he's on the left, he's isolated. I've always said this. He can't cross the ball in on the road. And for me, he needs to be in a 4-3-3 as an inside forward. I think if you get him in as an inside forward, you've got half a chance of getting a talented player there. As a 10, you could do it against certain teams, but other teams will bully him out of the game. They will bully him out of the game. But I do feel overall this season, in certain games, he's run the show. Genk away, he was 1-0 down. We was massively under pressure in that game because Zagreb were winning in against Rapid Vienna, I think it was. If they would have lost the game over there, they would have won. Technically, we would have had to play our full strength team. And Benny turned up and turned it on, scored 2, and the second goal was absolutely mint. At the start of the season, with Antonio, they was on fire. But it just seemed like to me when Antonio went off the ball, Benny went off the ball. So yeah, what am I going to give him? I'm going to give him the same rating as Fornells. I'm going to give him an 8, just an 8 for me. I'm going to be as fair as I can be with him. I'm not going to be biased or anything like that. I think he deserves an 8. I think he gets a lot of stick side Benrahma for really nothing. Do you know what I mean? And in certain games, I can understand the frustration. I really can. In other games, I think he's harshly treated. Really is. Like he gets subbed off in every game near enough. 70th minute, he's out the door. And certain games this year, Newcastle game to name one. I'll never forget that game. It was absolutely hammering it down with rain. And I thought he played all right against Newcastle. But when the ball comes up on the 70th minute, you know it's his number. And he reacted to Moyes to say, like, what is going on? And I can understand the frustration. If you're getting dug out, eventually you're going to bite back. And he did. Obviously, as the season's gone on, he's sort of quashed. Should he be here next season? I believe he should be. I believe he's a talented footballer. I believe we need to build and have a mixture of players, not keep having the same player. I do believe Saeed is a man that if you put good players around him, good, fast players around him, you will get the best of Saeed Benrahma, 100%. So for me, I'm going to give him just an 8 for me. Let's have a look what else we got. Let's make sure I got everyone. Let's go to this man, Mr. Jared Bowen. Absolutely first class season for this man. Started off slow, I will say that. The first few months of this season, I thought Jared was a bit all over the place. He was getting a bit stick, and he was getting into the positions where he was doing all the hard work, getting into positions and spooning it over the bar wide everywhere. He played Wolves away. He misses a chance from like 5-6 yards, I think it was. And we're thinking, what is going on? Like, what is going on with Jared? Then something clicked. Obviously, he met a woman. She's probably changed his life for the better. And he's been absolutely first class ever since then. He really has. I feel with him that, don't get me wrong, Declan has been absolutely first class. But for me, he was my hammer of the year, Bowen. I think the way he has carried this team, the goals he scored, the assists he scored, the threat he gives, he's dangerous. I've always liked this kid, even when he was at Hull. Excellent one-on-one finisher. He very rarely misses. The chance that he had against Frankfurt in the Europa League, where he hit the crossbar, the man is absolutely first class. And I'm hoping this is the start of something where he's going to lead us on to greater things. And it is exciting times at West Ham, especially with him. So I do think he is going to get better. Right, there's no choice about it. This kid will get better. Um, I'm giving him, I'm giving him a 9, and the only reason why I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 is because at the start of the season he was slow, he was missing chances, he was not good at all. Then from sort of October time onwards, he was absolutely first class. Absolute first class. The game against Chelsea, where he sort of ran the show, won the penalty, banged in that absolute screamer past Mendy. Wow, Geezer was there. He was on it, and he was absolutely first class performance from him. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I do like Jared Bowen. I'm surprised how fast he's come along. The only fear I have to sort of be a bit negative on it is I hope it ain't a one season wonder. I don't believe it is, but that is the fear. But if we can get good players around him also, then he will just gel and become into something amazing. He's a major player we've got to keep at the club, and I believe we will keep him at this club. So yeah, it's a 9 out of 10 for me for him, 100%. Moving on to this man, Mikel Antonio. Mixed bag for me on Mickey. Listen, today he helped me out today. Like he scored, he got his 10 goals, and I won a few quid. This season, at the start of the season, he was very, very good. From January the 1st to May 22nd, he's been not very good at all. I mean, yes, he influences the game by doing other stuff, but as a striker, you need him to score goals. And Bowen has carried us, and Antonio hasn't. Some games this year, he's been absolutely missing in action. Like we need him in the box, he's taking long throw-ins, or he's drifting wide, and it ain't anything to do with him because he's even turned around and said he needs a striker at this club. But to score 10 goals and get the assists that he's got must give him some credit. It really must. Do you know what I'm saying? He's got 10 goals. Benny's got 8 goals. Got 18 goals between them. Do you know what I'm saying? So it ain't bad. When I look at the games that he sort of played this year, especially in the second part of the season, he hasn't played very well at all. He obviously got sent off at the beginning part of the season against Southampton away, which was a silly red card. Like 2 stupid fouls. And basically, in the Man United game, that was a game where we could have done with him. But in the grand scheme of things, he's been good this season. I'm going to give him a high 8 for me. Right? I think he's done a bit more than other players. Do I want him as first choice striker next season? No, not for me. Not for me at all. I want to see a proper striker at this club. Pace, power, younger, fitter, fresher. Do I want Antonio at the club? Absolutely. Because what he brings a different dynamic to us. So I'm giving him a high 8, just not a 9 for me. Absolutely first class from what he has done. Just wish he would score some more goals. That's what I'm going to say. Moving on to this man, Mr. Andrei Yarmolenko. Now, it's quite sad, really. The way Yarm has been treated, to say the least, over the time. Even I can hold my hands up and I can admit that I've even given him some stick from time to time. The man's been on a hell of a lot of money. And for me, when I look at him, I feel that this season he's sort of, in the way, he's repaid us to a point, but I'm glad he's gone out the way he has. Like he scored the goal against Seville that got us through in extra time. He scored a goal against Villa that won us the game. Yarmolenko hasn't been amazing, don't get me wrong, but I feel with him, it's the right time. Get him off the wage bill. You can bring in 2 or 3 other players for less money than that. So for me, Yarmolenko, I'm going to give Yarmolenko a 5 this season. I think it's just a 5 for me. I think the goals he has scored have been vital, but other than that, he hasn't done a lot. He hasn't really done a lot. Um, oh, his time at West Ham has been a mixed bag of injuries, a lot of scapegoating from a lot of the fan base, and some memories that we will never forget, like the Seville game. We will never forget that game. It was one of the most amazing games West Ham's played. So for me, I'm going to give him a 5, and I do wish him all the best, mate, to him and his family and everyone. Do you know what I mean? Because what he must have gone through with the war and everything, I won't wish that on my worst enemy, mate, if I'm honest. I really, really wouldn't. And I think that is all the players that I've got. All the players that are in the first team and have played more over 5 games, I think it is. Now, as it sort of comes towards the end, I'm going to just rattle through certain competitions. And I'm going to start off with the League Cup. The League Cup for me was a great little run. Went to Manchester United, beat them 1-0. Manny Lanzini scores a goal, and yeah, we was absolutely amazing that game. Man United weren't that good, and we got it done in the end. Then we play Manchester City at the LS. We're thinking, what is going on? We just can't get a good draw. And the game ends 0-0. We had multiple chances to win the game. City were very good on that day, I must admit. But we sort of nullified their sort of threat, so to speak. And the game goes to penalties, and Saeed Benrahma scores the winning penalty and gets us through to the next round. And we're thinking, away we go. This is a bit of us. We're in the quarterfinals. And then we go and play Spurs away. And that's where the wheels sort of fell off in the end. It really did. I think we lost the game 3-1. And we weren't very good, if I'm being honest. They were more up for it, more on it. And we really just give it to them in the grand scheme of things. We had a lot of games. We just played a game on the Zagreb game, I think was in there. And we was just too many games and not enough bodies. And I think we just lost Zuma at the time. So we was right up against it. So the League Cup for me was a good run. I'm going to give it out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7. A 7 out of 10. I think it was a good run. It was a good run. We beat 2 of the best teams in the country, in Manchester United and Manchester City, even though they may not have been poor this year. And we just fell short against the Spurs side who caught us at the perfect time, basically. They really did. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Moving on to the FA Cup. Now, the FA Cup is a weird one for me. We get drawn out against Kidderminster, and we play probably one of the worst games of football I've seen West Ham play for a long time against the Kidderminster side, who, let's be honest, deserved to beat us. The better team lost that day. Kidderminster deserved to beat us back in January, and if it wasn't for Declan Rice at the death, it would have been one of the West Ham's most embarrassing defeats ever in their history. And Declan saved the day and saved us the embarrassment of losing to a lower league side. So then we managed to get through. Obviously, we got to extra time, we beat them, and we managed to get through. Then we both go and get drawn out against Southampton. And for me, it was shocking from us, because I thought the FA Cup, we could do some damage there. And that was one game that will grate on me a little bit. Ended up losing the game 3-1. And we was 1-0 down, got it back to 1-0. Antonio scored, and we're looking the part. And it was like a mini collapse. Obviously, I think other priorities took hand, and it just filtered out, and they just beat us in the end 3-1, which was gutting. What am I going to give the FA Cup? I'm going to give the FA Cup. I'm going to give it an actually I'm giving it a 5. 5 out of 10 for me. I think the Kidderminster game, we got incredibly lucky. Right, we didn't deserve to come out of that game with anything. And the Southampton game, we actually lost, and we deserved to lose that and all. 2 games we played in the FA Cup, and we deserved to lose both of them, and we only lost one of them. So for me, it's a 5 out of 10 for me, 100%. And the final competition is the Europa League. And where do I begin with this? Obviously, we started in Zagreb, first match day 1, and for me to go over there, win 2-0, and not only to win but to win as comfortably as we did, absolutely first class. Then obviously we played Rapid Vienna and Genk, got both wins. Then we played Genk away, and played Genk away. But before that, played Rapid Vienna in the reverse fixture. Win that game. Yarmolenko scores. Noble scores a penalty. And then we go to Genk and we draw 2-2. And we just about got over the line in that game. Obviously, Benny saved the day a little bit in that game, but it is what it is. And obviously, the final game of the group stages was the Zagreb home game, where all the kids played, and they done pretty damn well for their first sort of competitive game. Do you know what I'm saying? And then obviously we get out the group, we finish top of the group, we get the draw, and we draw at Seville, multiple winners of this competition. And do you know what? I felt we could do something against Seville. I remember Leicester playing them a few years ago, and they just don't do well against Premier League opposition, so to speak, even though they have beaten top teams, especially in their ground, but not so much away from home. And we played them away from home, and the game was pretty even, if I'm honest. Apart from one good set piece play from them, the game was pretty damn even. And if Vlasic would have put the ball in the back of the net before they scored, it could have been a completely different outcome of a game. But we go 1-0 down, and we end up taking a 1-0 deficit at TLS. And we play them at the LS, and obviously Thomas Souček scored the goal that got us back level. The game goes to extra time, and before the game went to extra time, Areola pulled out one of the best saves I've seen a goalkeeper do against El Nesri. I'll never forget that save because I think that's one of the reasons why we got to the semi-final. Because Areola in goal was absolutely first class, especially in the Europa League. Now, we get to the extra time, and Andrei Yarmolenko, the man who's been scapegoated quite a lot, scores the goal that gets us through. You know what I mean? We end up winning in extra time 2-0. Then we get drawn out against Lyon. And I'll never forget it. I was in London, and I done a quick 60-second video on this channel. And I turned around and I said, I fancy this against Lyon. They're not as good as what people think. Do you know what I mean? And we played the first leg at home. And Aaron Cresswell goes and gets sent off. Do you know what I mean? Which put our backs firmly against the wall in the first half. 0-0 at half time. Second half, we come out. We're thinking, how are we going to, if we can get to full-time level, we'll be over the moon. Then Jared Bowen pops up and scores a goal, a vital goal to give us something to hang on to. Ndombele, remember him? Spurs player. End up equalising for them. And we go over to France with a 1-1. And then we go to France, and that's probably the best I've seen West Ham play this season, up there with the Liverpool home game. I thought for the first 15, 20 minutes, we rid our luck. They hit the post. They was all over us. But when we scored that first goal and Craig Dawson done it, they just fell apart. They really, really did. And Declan got the second, Jared Bowen got the third, and it was a good night from us over in France. 3-0. The memories and the night that for the people who went there, they will be with them forever. 100%. Absolutely first class night that was, and we go marching on into the semi-finals. And then we play Eintracht Frankfurt in the semi-finals, and this is where a Europa League dream come to well, a abrupt end, so to speak. I feel the game was dead in the first game. We come out at home against them. I think people looked at it as more of an event. It was like the event, like, and I think the football took a backward step. Frankfurt come out and they scored within the first 20 seconds, I think it was, and our backs were firmly against the wall. We equalised, as we always do, got back into the game, and then we go and give it away. And we end up losing the game 2-1. And then in the 94th minute, ball comes in and Jared Bowen does an overhead kick, and it is millimetres away from making it 2-2. So anyway, we go over to Germany 2-1 down. And I still believe that we could do something over there. I really did. I believe that we could get a positive result over in Germany if we scored first. And obviously, after 19 minutes, we go down to 10 men, and Chris Wall's been sent off again. And before too long, we go 1-0 down, and the game was just dead. The game was just gone. And that is one of the most hardest defeats I've probably ever watched as a West Ham fan. Because I'm sitting there and watching my team, they can't do nothing. They've got not enough men. Players just all over the place. And it was just gutting. Absolute gutting to lose in the way we did. And we end up losing the game 1-0, and we end up obviously going out of the competition in the semi-final stages. So the Europa League journey has been a very, very up and down type one. Obviously, the group stages, we got through them. We had a little hiccup in Genk, but other than that, we've been pretty solid. The Seville home game was amazing. The Lyon away game was amazing. And then Eintracht Frankfurt was a nightmare, to say the least. Do you know what I mean? And a team which really, Lyon and Seville are better than Eintracht Frankfurt. So I'm going to rate Europa League a 9 out of 10. To get to the semi-final of the competition is an absolute wonderful achievement. Don't get me wrong. I think some things in the January window we should have just done, though. I will say that. But I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And my final rating of the evening before I go, is this man, Mr. David Moyes. I think he's been absolutely first class this season. I really do mean that. I know people have got their mixed views on him. I think as a coach, manager, whatever you want to describe him as, I think he's been first class. I do mean that. I think his stubbornness has got to stop in these windows, though. I will say that, and I'll say it quite openly. I feel that his stubbornness possibly cost us getting up the league a bit more. I think in the January window, he had an opportunity to go out and sign players. Was it him? Was it the ball? We will never know. We will never know. But I believe Moyes is very stubborn that he will not go out and get a player, right? If he just doesn't fancy it. Do you know what I mean? When we need players, and even if you would have loaned a player to the end of the season, that might have helped the load of the lads. Do you know what I'm saying? I think he's done exceptionally well against big teams. I think he's gone for it against big teams. I've watched him last season through COVID and everything, and I think he was very defensive, like 5-3-2, all the time against teams away from home. We've gone to teams this year and we've given them a good game. Liverpool away was 1-0 loss, but we played pretty well. Other games this year where we've turned up and we've given it a good go and just hasn't cut it. Chelsea away, 1-0 loss. I think the only way that we've really sort of let ourselves down was Tottenham away, where we just didn't turn up, but we had other things on our mind. But other than that, I think Moyes has done an absolute excellent job. But I do think the window was a problem. It was a problem, and I think he could have solved that problem by just going out and demanding players. It's either Moyes doesn't want players or the ball not giving it to him. And if the ball not giving it to him, he needs to put his foot down like Conte did at Spurs, and they give him 2 players. So I think Moyes has been absolutely first class. I'm going to give Moyes and his backroom staff get a 9 out of 10 from me. They really, really do. I think certain games he has been very, very wound up by the way the team has played. Even today, for instance, he was not happy in that interview. I like that. I like that because you can praise them up and say he's amazing when they're good, but when they're bad, I want a manager that says that's not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? And that's the best way of looking at it. He will not accept that. I think a lot of the backroom staff take a lot of credit also, like Noland and Pierce, everyone. So yeah, I think Moyes hopefully will bring in some top class signings this summer and strengthen this squad because it needs to be strengthened. And so it's a 9 out of 10 for Moyes and his backroom staff. And that is my season review for this season, 2021-2022. My best moment this year is obviously the Liverpool home game. I thought it was absolutely first class in that game. My worst defeat this year, I am going to say Manchester United at home. I think we played a team where we lost twice to this team this year, and they've been absolutely shocking. And to lose twice against this team this year, and Jesse scored the goal that won the game, basically. So, yeah. My best moment this year, for me, when looking back, is Jared Bowen's goal against Chelsea. I think that was absolutely first class. I think that was when he became the player that we all thought he would be. This is a man who he gets the chances, but he just doesn't convert. Now he's getting the chances and converting. So yeah, absolutely first class. And I think the Leeds away game, like the limbs in that away end would have been absolutely amazing. I would have loved to have been there because it was pandemonium beating Leeds away. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my sort of season review. I will have Mitchell on Tuesday. I'm going to try and get other people on during the week, and then I'm taking a break, and I'm going to have a bit of a rest. It's been a long season. It's been an emotional season. We've had highs, we've had lows, we've had smiles, we've had cries, and I love everyone who comes on this channel. Every lad who comes on this channel, I love them to death. From Affers to Walshy to Mitch to Lucas. They've been absolutely first class gentlemen. Do you know what I mean? And do you know what I like about them is that they're real. They're real people, and they will pull me up if I'm wrong, and they will challenge me, which I like. But they're not rude about it. Yeah. And this channel was made on September the 1st, 2021, and it's been a bit of a mad year. It really, really is. Would I want it to go any other way? Not at all. There's other people I can thank who I know. Do you know what I mean? People over at Hammer's Chat who have been absolutely first class. Dan Lawless, who's been on this channel with Jace, who will get on their season review. First class. West Ham Online, who's been excellent in everything he's done coming onto his channel. Do you know what I mean? I like to keep it to a core of people on this channel, and I'm doing my best to do that for the content that I'm giving. Listen, me, Mitchell, are very passionate fans. Affers is very reserved but well spoken in the way he comes across. Lucas is very he sits on the fence. There's a mixed bag of all of us, but one thing we've got in common is we love West Ham to bits, like the next person. Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, this channel would be nothing without them. Do you know what I mean? I do this channel because it gives me an outlet in regards to West Ham. I'm not in it for views. I'm not in it to make millions. You know what I mean? If I can make a few quid and if I could share some tips to people, betting tips, then so be it. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to help other people, then whatever. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it's all about. But my sole goal is to express a view on this channel that says, let's be real in the way we're rating and way we're looking at players. You know what I mean? And it's not having any favouritism in certain things. So yeah, listen, I want to thank each and every one of the lads. Mitchell, first class, as I say, Affers, Walshy and Lucas, and all the people who's been on this channel. Do you know what I mean? As I say, it wouldn't work without them. It really, really wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And anyone who's also given me a shout out on the other platforms. Listen, I've been on Arsenal channels, Liverpool channels. I've been on quite a few channels, and even the people that I don't really speak to anymore. Do you know what I mean? They was there at the beginning when it was hard. I'm sitting there in front of a phone talking to like 5 people, and now I'm sitting, sometimes I'm in front of 50, 60, 70 people. Do you know what I mean? Which is a massive turnaround for me. It really, really is. So I listen, I don't forget my roots and I don't forget them. And I appreciate them. I really do mean that. So yeah, that is it from me. So I will be back again soon. Please do smash a like on the video. It really does go a long way. And if you're new around here, please do subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. It makes the channel grow. It makes all of us get out there for other people to come on. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at doing some new content in the summer. Like moving on to the new season. I will be doing a few new shows start of next season where I'm going to try and get fans on to talk about West Ham. You know what I mean? You can listen to me, Mitchell, Affers, Lucas, and Walshy all day long, but I want it to be for everyone, not just for the 5 of us. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've got some ideas, and as I always have, and I'm hopefully going to try and make this grow a bit better than it has done this year. Anyway, I won't take up any more of your time. That's been my season review. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you, and good night.